Middle-earth is shaped not only by the heroes who rose and fell, but by the shadows that linger in the margins of its tales. For every story of elves and kings, there are whispers of older things, stranger things, too wild or ancient to be named. Among them are the giants. Not orcs or trolls, not ents or dragons, but towering mountain-born beings that thundered through the storm and vanished just as suddenly as they came. We see them only once, briefly in The Hobbit, hurling boulders and shaking the earth like living avalanches. Today we journey into the mists and high passes of Tolkien's legendarium to uncover one of its most enduring mysteries, the forgotten giants of Middle-earth. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get started. Let's begin with what we do know. In The Hobbit, Bilbo and the dwarves find themselves caught in a powerful storm in the high pass of the Misty Mountains. It was a terrible storm. The thunder growled and grumbled in the sky, and the lightning splintered rocks and lit up the black peaks. Then suddenly they saw a giant. Tolkien describes the giants hurling rocks as a kind of game, with no apparent purpose beyond raw, elemental chaos. They're not attacking the company. They're simply existing, playing. And yet, their mere presence makes the mountain pass a deadly place. But here's the kicker. This is the only time giants are directly seen in any of Tolkien's published works. Whatever they were, the stone giants leave us with more questions than answers, and one unforgettable glimpse into the wild, untamed corners of Tolkien's world. Some Tolkien scholars argue that the stone giants are a literary device, a remnant of the Hobbit's more whimsical tone, which Tolkien later outgrew in The Lord of the Rings. In this view, the giants may not even be real in the lore of Middle-earth, but more like fairy tale imagery. But there's a problem with that theory. Tolkien never fully erased them. He revised parts of The Hobbit after writing The Lord of the Rings to match the darker, more grounded tone. But the stone giants stayed. Why? Because Tolkien did intend them to fit within the greater legendarium, even if vaguely. In one letter, he mentions that the giants were marginal beings, possibly nature spirits or lesser Maiar, who were never fully explained or categorized. So, while they may not have played a large role, they did have a place. Let's explore the leading theories behind what these beings could have been. Much like Tom Bombadil or the Great Eagles, the stone giants may have been nature-aligned spirits, powerful but neutral. Perhaps even Maiar, lesser divine spirits tied to the mountains and storms. Their actions, causing landslides, tossing boulders, creating thunder, suggest a primordial connection to the land itself. They don't care about elves, dwarves, or men. They're more like the personification of a mountain's fury. Another possibility is that the stone giants are survivors from a much older race, perhaps even from the days before days, when Melkor twisted the early world. Could Morgoth have created giants just as he did trolls and dragons? Some readers even speculate that trolls were corrupted giants, in the same way orcs were twisted elves. But Tolkien contradicts this in his letters, saying trolls were a more recent creation, and giants are never directly associated with evil. Still, there's a tantalizing connection between size, stone, and strength that suggests a shared ancestry. Tolkien left vast regions of Middle-earth unexplored, including the east and south, lands like Rhûn and Harad. In the earliest drafts of his world-building, giant-like creatures are said to have existed in the east. Could there have been entire tribes or civilizations of giants beyond the maps we know? Maybe the stone giants of the Misty Mountains were just a few wandering remnants, isolated and forgotten, much like Beorn's people, the Skin Changers. To go deeper, we have to look not at The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings, but at Tolkien's early drafts. In the Book of Lost Tales, written decades before the final novels, Tolkien frequently references giants as common inhabitants of his mythical world. Some were even named, like the monstrous Langan or the giant who guards the road to Valinor. But over time, as his legendarium matured, Tolkien trimmed away many of these early fairy tale elements, focusing more on elves, men, and the divine hierarchy of Ainur. Still, the echoes remained. The stone giants in The Hobbit may be a leftover fragment from this early mythology, like forgotten gods walking in a world that has moved on. There's another fascinating possibility. What if giants are somehow related to the Ents? Both are massive, both are tied to nature, both are ancient and rare, and Tolkien wrote that the Ents were created in response to Morgoth's evil, as protectors of the forests. Could the giants have been protectors of the mountains? Maybe they once served a purpose, and when the wars of the Valar ended, they went dormant, becoming part of the very stone itself, only stirring when lightning stirs their blood. A haunting idea, isn't it? Whether spirits, Maiar, or forgotten creatures, one thing is clear. By the Third Age, giants are gone from the wider world. Why? Tolkien loved the theme of decline, of powerful things fading, retreating into shadow or legend. The elves are leaving, the Ents are dwindling, the great kingdoms of men are shadows of their former glory. The giants too may have passed into myth, their strength no longer needed, or perhaps feared. But if they are elemental beings, tied to the land, maybe they're still there, sleeping under the rock, watching, waiting for the storm to return. So, what were the giants of Middle-earth? Mysterious beings glimpsed only once in all of Tolkien's writings. Possibly nature spirits, forgotten creatures, or leftovers from an elder world. Never explained, rarely mentioned, and deeply compelling. They remind us that Middle-earth is not fully mapped, that behind every thunderclap in the mountains, there might be a hand the size of a tree, casting stones for sport, and that perhaps, just perhaps, in the cracks of the Misty Mountains, the giants are still playing. If you enjoyed diving into one of Tolkien's most elusive mysteries, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the giants were real, a metaphor, or something far more ancient, lurking behind the mist? There are more hidden legends waiting to be uncovered. So, stay curious, stay sharp. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next journey through Middle-earth.